Greetings, everyone. This is Jarus, and once again with me is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon. And of course, this week, yo, indeed. This week, of course, we're going to give you a roundup of the 3 videos that came out and discuss what we feel was worth mentioning in there. And we watched them, so you don't have to. Basically, well, actually, 2 of them were pretty watchable. One of them, not so much, in my opinion. But anyway, let's go ahead and...
The opinion of lots of us, well, maybe not lots of us, but a fair few people.
Like and dislike ratio would say we're probably on the mark on that.
Yeah.
So let's start with, before we get into the videos, let's talk about the production schedule update. They finally had one, and it looks like we're looking actually at February for 2.6.1 to come out sometime early in February, as it's listed right now. Now, one of the things they're going to be doing is Star Marine updates. They're going to be adjusting and fixing the UI, hopefully fixing the situation where the radar shows the position of everybody, allowing more stealth play.
I think that's one of the things that they're working on in-house right now.
Yeah, that's really my only big complaint as far as the UI goes.
It is not supposed to do that.
No, definitely not. And they're going to be adding website-based leaderboards for Star Marine. And
for those of you that care about that stuff, we don't.
Yeah, my leaderboard thing's disabled. I think leaderboards in an alpha is kind of. But anyway, so we have the next thing they'll be looking at is that they're going to give you the option to actually change your loadouts after you die, and that's, I think, going to be pretty helpful actually. Once they get to one of the big things they're going to be working on is adjusting the damage of the shotgun and the sniper rifle. And my personal favorite here is that when a grenade is in your vicinity, you will have an indicator telling you you're standing on a grenade. That's been one of my big complaints.
That's not very realistic. I don't like that change.
Well, if you have all this technology on your suit, you think it'd be able to detect that a grenade was being thrown at you or something at least. But the thing is that without, a lot of times the grenades aren't very visible. Just be honest about it. The
problem with Star Citizen has right now is there's very little feedback. I mean, there's lots of information and there's lots of stuff going on, but how much the player knows about it, because the game just refuses to tell you.
Right. And a lot of times I'm getting shot and I don't even realize I'm being shot. And so that's one of the things I think they need to continue to work on, is giving us that feedback of things that are happening to us as it's happening. So we'll move on to the ships, and of course we had mentioned this a couple weeks ago in the BlastCast, where we talked about how gunnery was causing problems with Star Citizen's combat. And it looks like the devs are agreeing on some of the points that we've made here. I don't know how long they've been thinking this, but this has been something that's been argued about for almost 2 years now.
Clearly the devs watch our stuff, so
clearly, yeah.
Say.
Yeah. Yeah, so but this has also been coming up on Reddit. So I think a lot of times what I've been noticing is when things go wild on Reddit, that's when the developers, they almost seem to pay more attention to that, because it's like they can't censor that area, they can't ignore it. It's like it's out in the public venue, so they're more likely to jump on it. So I'm almost thinking that Reddit's almost a better tool to post concerns at this point in time. But basically, they kind of come to the conclusion that weapon projectiles have at speeds that are too varied in the game, causing all these pips and widespread pips, and as we talked about before,
makes it really hard to shoot your target.
Yeah, purple horseshoes, green clovers, and all this stuff. So basically, you end up with all this
red balloons.
You and your red balloons. So
you forget the red balloons. They're the most important one.
I don't know. I never ate Lucky Charms, except I think in like a hotel or something.
Ever.
But anyway, so hopefully this is one part of gunnery that I feel needs to definitely be fixed, and hopefully encourage more mixed loadouts. The other parts, of course, as we stated before, I think
go back and watch our gunnery video.
Shield penetration needs to go away, and IM needs to go die in a fire. So anyway, then they're also looking at making it so that when you do the boost on the thrusters, when you boost left or right or up, down, whatever, that you can reach the quote-unquote cruise speed, though it will be much slower, might take much longer to reach that actual cruise speed, but you can do it that way through your thrusters, which I have no problem with. I would like to see a universal speed caps overall, but I'm glad that they're at least considering There was causing some problems. It was causing some problems where strafing wasn't working at those higher speeds. So this should actually hopefully alleviate some of those and open up more flight maneuvers. Weapon and health balance. This is a big one for all you freelancer fans out there like myself. I do own 3 of them. The thing is that any of you who know out there, fly freelancers, you know that the front guns get torn off like instantly anytime you get shot. They're looking at the weapon mount, health, and balance to make sure that the weapons don't get basically shot off that quickly. And hopefully that is majorly addressed with the freelancer, because it has one of the most solid mounts you would have for a weapon in the front in the game.
And it has like 2 hit points.
Yeah, it just goes away if anything's... They found basically that the explosion damage or anything that had that effect or a radius of effect was basically just peeling off the weapons. It was bleeding through straight to the hard points and things like that. So yeah, that's basically that that's all there is on that. But that's a major deal to me. Of course we have, and this is going to be my Hornet report, so I'm not putting this out there. But basically the Super Hornet model is finally getting an update. Thank goodness. I am a Super Hornet owner, and the UI has been unusable for a little while now, but they're updating the textures, the model, they're bringing up the damage states, bug fixing, and optimization paths to bring it more in line with the current ships. Their ETA on that should be by January 27th, so we should see it actually in the next patch that comes out, and I'm excited for that, because it's one of those ships to me that I've been flying the Gladiator a lot, because its UI works well, and the ship has just been really, really, really good in this 2.6 release. And then we went on to the subscriber town hall. Now, if you didn't watch it this week or you kind of avoid those, I would recommend watching this one.
It was pretty much solid goodness.
Oh yeah, the subscriber town hall was lots of great information across the board, talking about all the little intricacies that you really want to see coming out in the game, like survival. Any thoughts on this, Lightning?
About survival?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, gee, I don't know. It's not like I only play like survival games and building games.
That's why I'm handing this over to you.
One of the great things about let's just use Empyrean for an example, because I feel Empyrean is a good game, and one of the things they're going to be changing in the game. Like their number one priority is to make it more survival and more exploration, and that's kind of where Star Citizen focusing as well, as far as like the long run stuff. So in Empyrean, you have food and you have water, and you also have health. You can get like sick, and you have to take like I ate this food, but it was raw food, so I got sick. They might not have to go into that much detail, because I think what they're trying to do is to make it where like I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Final Fantasy 15 food in Final Fantasy 15 you get a buff. So I'm wondering if that's kind of what they're going to do. So like maybe you get like bonus hit points or more stamina. What?
Like well fed versus standard versus starving.
Yeah,
versus
so like
dead.
It doesn't matter if you don't eat, because they don't want to force that on you.
I think though, I think they do consider food something that you could starve to death, because I may be wrong on that, but
oxygen and heat talked about that.
Yeah.
More in the happy hour one, but they're gonna have lots of survival aspects. But like how deep they want to go in it is, I think that's still very much up in the air. So yeah. I mean, like if they went very light on the survival mechanics as far as like food, water, and stuff, that'd be fine. Because some people just like, oh, geez, I've been playing for an hour and my character's had like 5 hamburgers. I mean, that's not very realistic. I mean, a lot of people will agree, because that's one of the major complaints I see with a lot of survival games is you're eating too often.
So as long as they keep it within realistic levels. I mean, you're right. I play a lot of survival games, and it's like your guy who has to eat like 50,000 calories a day to survive. And you're like, what the hell's going on with this?
Yeah.
So and it can go too far.
If they did that in a light aspect, or maybe did it where like if you drank a soda or something, you got some bonus stamina for like an hour or whatever. So if you gave people incentive to do stuff, it wouldn't be just like, I have to eat because I have to eat, right? It'd be like a pointless money sink. Like, oh, gee, well, I have to go hunting on this planet so I can kill this animal, and then I have to eat this animal, and then that means I have to go buy bullets for my gun. I mean, it's just this huge just rabbit hole or whatever. You can just go deeper and deeper and deeper. So I hope they don't go that deep with it, and it doesn't sound like that's what they want to do.
No, I think what they've stated is that gameplay will always
Yes.
be basically what they're shooting for, and then they'll try to wrap as much realism around that as possible.
Yep.
But I can, and that makes sense to me. I have no issues with that. If your core gameplay is fun, and then you can adding realism or whether it's physics or other mechanics that add to that experience is fine.
But as far as like
oxygen,
as far as oxygen or heat or cold, 100% that is going to be in the game. You will have to, if you're doing EVAs, boom, you have a ticking clock. This is how much oxygen you have. You can only be out there for so long. So if you're making repairs, there's a timer on you. Or if you're flying really close to a sun or something, if you don't have heat resistant shields, it's going to start heating up your systems, and you're going to have overheats and failures on all your internal components. I mean, all that stuff. I am 100% sure that they're going to just go hog wild on it. So I mean, we're going to have a lot of deep gameplay, but as far as like survivability in like the player side of it, yeah. I think that the game is too big in scope to really go down deep into that. Because with Ark, you have to get food and stuff. You don't have to have, well, you do have to have water in Ark, but Ark is more focused on you as a person and what you do in that world, where Star Citizen is more like I think it's you as a player in this world. What do you do? I mean, it's kind of the same, but I think the focus is on what you do in the huge world and not who you are in the huge world.
Yeah, and of course they talked about how they're going to handle also large city like planets that are like, for example, Coruscant, where they're entirely a city or something like that. Of course, you'll have autopilot to a degree. Like, you can fly down a flight path, but if you deviate, autopilot will take over and it will land you at a designated area. Cities, and I can understand why they're doing this for like the large cities, is that I imagine how hard it would be for them to detail the interior in every building on a planet or a mega city like that. I mean, even GTA doesn't even attempt to do something like that, and their team doesn't even have near as much, experience or development time, or even enough programmers to attempt something like that. So you'll have these areas where you can go around, like you land in an area that's designated, and then you'll be able to access things from there, and that's fine. I have no problems with that.
Yeah, because one of the things they talked about is like, if it's what's the ArcCorp is the one planet they're talking about adding?
Yeah,
ArcCorp is a mostly industrial planet. So you as a player, you're not going to go land in the industrial complex and be like, "Hey guys, what's up? I have some stuff to sell. I want to buy things." Yeah. No, you're flying into the middle of a production line. You want to go to the beginning or the end of the production line, where there's like cargo stacked up to be either to be shipped out or to be put onto the factory lines to build it. Oh, Factorio, I love you so much.
You've been like living in that game this week.
Areas. Now, how big they go, it really depends on what they can like stream through the assets.
Yeah. Of course, we're looking at ship keys, so people just can't jump into your pilot seat and fly away with your ship. And that's something. Right now, I think there's like an 8-minute timer on the pads. Not after that, anyone can get into your ship. So this will also keep people from like who are in your ship to just taking it. Like, if you get up to like check something, suddenly they're flying your ship, and now you can't get control back. If you have the,
you can authorize people as well. So it'll be maybe more like a data pad or something.
Yeah,
or a key lockout. Not a key, but like a key code or something.
And this is what I'm happy about, is the AI scaling based on your party, as well as location and mission choice. See, right now, the way it is in the persistent universe, if you go out there, let's say, with a Super Hornet, and you have someone in the back, and of course you have the pilot, it's going to spawn 2 ships worth of combat out, because there's 2 players. It doesn't look at the situation. It just says, oh, that's not going to be 2 pirates, it's going to be 4, or it's going to be 3, it's going to be 6. And it doesn't adjust correctly. So they're going to be looking at these variables and coming up with a better balance for missions and things like that. And of course, the Mega Map server, Mega Map is going to be coming out. I think it was by 2.6.2 they wanted to have the Mega Map.
I'm not sure if it's going to be in 0.1 or 0.2. I would probably lean towards 0.2.
I think it's 0.2 in the production
thing. It sounds like they're getting close.
Yeah, and the Mega Map is huge. That's huge for all of us. That's
they did talk about how there's too many things for them to add in, so we're probably going to see a 2.62, but they're not quite sure on that yet. But it sounds like that's what's going to happen. But I mean, I really believe if you go all the way back, we'll go off topic for just a couple seconds here. But they, when you go back far enough, they said, we're going to have like a fixed beta or a fixed alpha and a fixed beta, and beta is basically when everything gets locked down. And I really think as we get closer and closer to 3.0, that 3.0 is that alpha test. This is when everything starts getting lined up and blasted out, and we're going to get a fully fleshed out game. And after we get all these mechanics tested, because that's what 3.0 is going to be, we're testing mining, salvaging, exploration, wormhole jumping, or the quantum drive
stuff.
What is it? It's the jump point stuff.
That's 4.0 is the worm.
Well, we're going to be testing all that stuff. So I think 4.0 is going to be the quote-unquote beta. Now, it may be 4.1 or something, but
I would agree with that statement. I would say once you get multiple systems, and as I've said for the longest time, that's when you're looking at the game, it being quote-unquote game on, more or less. Even if there's only like 3 systems or 2 systems, just the ability to have that separation or those mechanics fully testing or being fully tested by the community is going to actually make that game really feel
imagine
complete.
If you had 3 systems and each of them had let's just say they recreate Sol 3 times, our solar system. Well, you have I guess 7 planets, and you have like 2 or 3 dwarf planets, and then you have like 40 different moons, and you have an entire asteroid belt.
There's more there than all the
huge.
Yeah, there's more there than all the players can even handle. Just in one system or 2 systems, there's more space, and you may not even bump into another person for a long time. And that's what it's what the mega map is, because it'll make your load times a lot shorter, and it should also keep the game from trying to track or load in or draw in all those things that you can't see anyway. And it should make everyone's game run a lot better. And I'm really looking forward to seeing that implemented. I think that's all part of the important netcode. And of course, when they're dealing with their new, their whole web setup, it looks like that because of the way it's being set up with the new baseline engine, people like in Australia and such are going to be getting more localized server support, so they won't get that 200 millisecond plus pings anymore. So hopefully that's going to be one of those things that'll also really help the community as well. That's nice. They're going to be adding it for a nice looking for group system in the game in the form of the stress beacons. That's going to be kind of interesting. Of course, I would like that, because a lot of times I've been kicked out of my ship from I've had videos on here where basically I've stepped near the edge of the ship and suddenly whoosh, I'm gone.
Yeah. So basically what they were saying is you'd have different beacons you can enable. So like obviously you have a distress beacon like I need help, but you can specify like I need fuel or I need repairs or blah blah blah. And obviously there's a risk and a reward to this. The reward is you being saved, and the risk is if you're in a very low security area that pirates are going to pick it up and they're going to come and just basically murder you.
Yeah.
But you can also do this in the way of like I want escorts, like maybe you're in a cargo ship and so you like I need escorts to run this mission, or I'm willing to run an escort. And so it basically be, the way I understood it, it's kind of like the looking for group thing that you find in MMOs, like, looking for DPS or looking to run whatever raid mission, and that's really what it sounded like doing, but they're going to have an in-lore kind of tie-in to it.
Yeah, and
which
I
think
find it
is
interesting.
amazing.
Yeah, and I think there should be like the secure way to do it too. Like it can take a little bit longer, but you transmit it to a secure node, and then as opposed to just dropping an open beacon, and then that the
if you're in the
node
middle
transmits.
of space, you might not have a choice. But
if
you were like at a station,
let's say like you were in the transmission range of one of those communication satellites, right? Like we've been using in the PU. And you send a communication to one of those relay stations, and it would actually end up sending to a planet, to a terminal, and then someone would get it there, as opposed to just a general open space broadcast, which could also potentially bring you problems. So, don't get me wrong, a terminal could also bring you problems, but I don't think many people are going to accept a mission that pays out money to help you or something that are going to betray that. I can see a couple different options on that, but I like that idea. I really do, especially all the times I've fallen down on my ship. And so basically, when we go on to Around the Verse, there really wasn't much there in Around the Verse. The big thing for me to take away was, personally speaking, was the Buccaneer being in gray box, and they show a bit of it here. And I own that ship, so I'm interested in seeing how that comes out, how that flies, with the wonderful job they've been doing on Drake, the texturing, the way they make it feel. I'm excited to see how the fighter comes out. I've been thoroughly impressed. Now, when they originally, looking at the early Drake designs, when you're looking at the early version of the Cutlass, it really was kind of generic. And what they've really done is they step back and say, what makes Drake Drake? So when you look at things like the Herald and you look at things like the Caterpillar now, you see this
lack of ejection seats.
Lack of ejection seats. That's the requirement. I think that's what makes them them. But yeah, that was a big takeaway for me on that. Did you have any takeaways for that?
They talked about subsumption, I believe.
Yeah.
Where they're going to start adding like roles to like AI. So, like, when you hire somebody, or just in general, that the AI will have, like, I am a pilot, and they have a very, set of things that they run through, or I am a gunner, or, I'm a marine. And so defining how the AI works will not only make them run better, but it'll also make them work for multi-crew. So, like, if you run into an NPC freelancer or a Connie, the turrets will, like shoot at you independent of the ship pilot, and like the shield systems, if they start going down in one sector, the AI will be like, oh, we're losing shields here, so I'm going to redirect power in this location. So it'll feel very much more like you're fighting a player, as opposed to just an all-knowing, all-seeing AI that just can do everything forever.
Well, then of course we had the happy hour, which is, I'm going to dub it the not happy hour. I don't know. It wasn't very interesting. I think you can probably skip this one. I think we'll get to they're really just not very good. I'm not very happy with it so far. But I want to end on discussion of two things that came out that I think will make Star Citizen probably the ultimate game that has ever existed. And it's the potential introduction of mech suits and tanks.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Oh, I mean, you tell you what, there's people on the web just nerdgasm. That was, yes.
I think micro mech suits are going to be in 100%.
Oh.
Now, as far as mechs, like full on mech warrior style, maybe we'll see them, but it might be like April Fools. We've added mechs for a patch or something.
Oh man, you add some like Titans to Star Citizen, like for ground combat.
It'd be amazing.
Oh my gosh, because right now, here's the thing: if you're on the ground as a soldier, yeah, you can have a rocket launcher, but a ship's gonna just rip you in half. Soldiers really can't defend against these ships. So what would you do? You'd want to have, if you want to have something to defend the base, you have tanks or you have mech suits or both. And they would basically be able to defend the base. Having people standing out in the open versus, like you saw in the demo they did. You had the guy sitting out there in the freelancer.
Homestead demo?
Yeah, the Homestead demo. Freelancer just nuked them, right?
Yep. They're like, oops, we didn't really plan that, but as you can see, ships are really strong against players.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically that's the situation you wouldn't want to find yourself in. But if you could, like, jump into a mech and with shields and stuff like that, man, that would just be, and I would love that.
Actually, there was a different one, because Homestead was showing off the planet.
Yeah, Homestead was a planet. I was about to correct you on that, but I didn't want to jump in on you.
Well, I was just thinking about it. It's kind of like, well, I know they had that, but
yeah, it was the one where they showed the first mission. And that was really cool. But having mechs and having tanks, I mean, we've already got ground vehicles. We've already got the rovers, so it's not that hard to imagine that they can create some sort of futuristic tank, or even take a wheeled vehicle and go full Mako on it, and just take it up a notch to that full kind of level that you see in something like Mass Effect. But for me, mech suits. I am a huge fan of Mech Warrior. I used to play back in the day.
Mech Warrior 3 was awesome.
Yeah, my mighty Pentium 1 33 megahertz powerhouse that I used to play all the Mech Warrior games and Clan Ghost Bear and all stuff like that. And these games, man, I love them. And they were one of the earliest games I played online consistently. And if they had any elements of that, man, there would be no reason for me to play any other game. So you have FPS, you have flying, you have driving on ground, and you have mechs.
The power armor, like all of Fallout 4, is going to be in the game. There is no disputing that. Yeah. Because what we have here is
that's the next great. I think it's the next great competition is about the power suits.
I thought it was just regular armor they were doing.
I think the suit is a power suit. That's what they're doing. I think initially it's some piece they have to create a helmet, but after
it's a helmet.
It's a helmet. But then that's like, remember how they had to create a weapon first and then move on, and the teams were whittled down, and they made same thing. They're gonna have them make a helmet, and then I think they're going on to the power suit. So
well, I know that's going to be in the game because as Sean Tracy was talking about in the happy hour one, which I mean, I don't really think it's like worth watching. I mean, there was some stuff in there, but a lot of it was like, yes, we're working on that. No, I can't talk about it because a lot of that stuff is still being tested. So it's like, if I told you, right now we're working on X, Y, and Z, but it's broken and this is having trouble and stuff, and or it works great and stuff, and then they change it. Well, now technically he's sort of lied to you. He hasn't lied, but people will take it that way. So, but one of the things he was talking about is the gap between players and ships. And they've already talked about a very, very heavy armor. You have a Marine, right? Well, he's a Marine for a reason, because he can't fly and he can't use guns because his armor is too big and bulky to use those things. And that's why you have like the current armor in the game, which if they're going to go with this heavy armor route, which what it sounds like they're going to do, the current heavy armor that's not yet in the game, I have a feeling you'll still be able to use it as a pilot or a gunner or something. Maybe not a pilot, but definitely a gunner. But that'll be like the restriction, where if you have the super heavy armor, it'd be like wearing the Fallout power armor, where you can't even use that. You can't even sit down in a chair, right? You're either strapped onto the wall.
I think that medium should be the furthest one you can do and still sit in a chair. I think like the super heavy armor should be like the stuff that you see like on like the special chairs on drop ships. So they're dropping off their Spartans or whatever. Well, it's good as term as any, right?
Yeah, kind of. But I think we're going to see like quote unquote power armor. Yeah. But the thing that's questionable is the mech suits. Me personally, I'd love to have mechs. And one of the ways we're going to I guess at this point we're kind of done with the stuff here, so we're kind of going to go a little bit on a spiel here.
Here comes the spiel.
Yep, this is spiel time, so if you want to listen to us talk about that, feel free for you to stay and watch. But as far as news, I think we pretty much covered everything. But for a way you could balance actual mechs versus fighter planes is like, well, why do they still use fighter planes? Well, because they're designed to fly in space. If you have a mech suit, like an actual, like, let's say it's a mech warrior, so it's an actual, whatever meter tall, full-on mech. It has no main drive propulsion.
You're good.
What?
Taking out your Hellcat with PPCs or your Atlas or whatever.
Yeah. Missile launchers. Yeah.
LRMs, baby.
I want freaking mechs. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, LRMs.
But a good way to balance it is they have no main engine. They're all thrust driven. They have no quantum slipstream or whatever.
They can't go. They're planet locked. They're planet bound. Yes, from there, you can even create special ships that can actually transport those.
Yeah, you can put them. Let's say you can put them in like an Idris, right? But it takes up like two mechs is like the size of one fighter. But that mech can't go out and do a mission because it can't get there. What it would be good for is you can EVA that mech out, keep it at whatever speed the ship is at, or you can hard lock it onto the deck. Use magnetic locks on the boots, and now you have a person outside and something that can take a beating, but is far more agile and can move around and react to a situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of possibilities with that. I'm absolutely just excited for that potential. Now, of course, that's not verified. That's going to be in there. You have, oh my gosh, if they do it,
that'd be amazing if it was. Even them adding tanks, because as Sean was saying, the tracks to make a tank, an actual legit tank, most of that code is in the base CryEngine. So all they have to do is just kind of, build it assets-wise. And
they wouldn't even have to do treads if they don't want to even go that far. They could do other versions of tanks. It's not a big deal.
They can make hover tanks.
Yeah, exactly. Hover tanks are fine.
That'd be amazing too.
And the very last thing I want to bring up was that, as you know, I've been a proponent of removal of IM. It's actually blowing up on Reddit. this week quite a bit, and it's good. There's a lot of people from top PvP guilds that are now kind of seeing the issues that are popping up with the change in the flight model, and it's actually getting legs and traction. And earlier I had mentioned that people have been talking about things on Reddit, how the devs have been responding to it. So hopefully now, as this debate, the Katamari, I think is almost right now is about 1,923 pages of debating about getting rid of this. With
like no dev replies at all.
Well, there hasn't been one in 6 months plus. Last one I think was Calyx, and that was a long time ago. I think that's when they said they were going to give us a clear document stating what they were intending on doing, and that never happened. We never got any such document. So the thing is that. Hopefully this will catch some legs, and we can come up with a unified control system so everyone can fly all the ships they own. Everyone can use all the systems on the ships they own equally with equal skill, and we can bring this more to a first order kind of flying for the flying and zero order for the ground-based shooting, as it should be. So anyway, guys, that's this week's BlastCast. It may have run a little bit long, but hey,
there was a lot of stuff to talk about.
There was a good amount of stuff.
About a lot of stuff.
That's true, but honestly, this was probably much shorter than watching those 3 videos. So if you wanted,
massively.
If we probably just saved you more than half.
That's like 2 hours at least.
At least, maybe more than that. So let's not bring this to 2 hours. So, all right, guys, we will catch you next time. Thanks for listening. And
bye bye.
Bye bye.